Okay, welcome back. This video is entitled Accessibility to Disabled Students, and this is so important. It's a topic that's close to my heart. I've traveled the world quite a bit, and in many developing world countries, disability is not as fully understood or accepted often as in the industrialized world. And often the rights of disabled people and certainly students are not as honored. And so it's quite important for us as teachers to be mindful of that and cognizant of that. Now, in Western industrialized countries, we've made a lot of progress on this. For instance, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, but some more recent shifts in educational philosophy at various levels have put the rights of disabled students somewhat in jeopardy. So it's our job as teachers to uphold the rights of disabled students and for us to make the individual effort to make our classes as accessible and welcoming as possible for disabled students. Here are a few ways that we can do this. Number one, it's important to look at your classroom from the perspective of students in wheelchairs or with other physical disabilities that limit their range or capabilities. They often need more space in order to maneuver through the room, get into desks, or get up to computers and the like. Check in with them on occasion to see if their needs are being met. Usually small accommodations are really all that's needed, and they're very appreciated. Number two, if you have deaf or hard of hearing students in the class with a sign interpreter, you have to make sure to speak at a reasonable pace so that the interpreter can keep up with you. I actually used to teach at Cal State Northridge, which had the largest deaf studies program in the US. So I had a lot of deaf students in my geography classes with an interpreter, and I quickly realized, whoa, I have to slow down so the interpreter can keep up with me. And also, you must pause after you ask a question to the class so that the interpreter can translate your question, the hard of hearing students can hear it and have a chance to also respond. So that time lag is very important there. Also, make sure everything that you say or do with hard of hearing students is as visual as possible. Steph, my sister, uses a document camera to project everything that her students work on. She highlights in real time with students as they take notes or annotate lecture notes. When going over answers for vocabulary or tests, she projects tests up on the projector screen and moves her finger along with the pace of her speaking. So these techniques help every student in the class pay attention and stay focused, but they really help the hard of hearing students because you're giving them a visual stimuli. For blind or sight impaired students, consider making large print versions of all handouts. It can be a hassle, but it's incredibly more accessible. I've even had older students, sometimes in my night college classes, I'll have much older students who want large print versions. And also consider increasing the size of the font on digital presentations. 4, if you want to go to the extra mile, which I've done at times in this way, you can use your phone's voice recorder to record a copy of all your lectures, or on a more manageable scale, just have a student video you on your own cell phone as you deliver key lessons or key assignment explanations, not the entire lesson. And then you can keep an audio video library on your computer of your key lessons, and you can add this to one of your learning management systems or sort of digital sites like a Moodle page where students can access these. Allow students to access this information if they request it or need it. You can even have these recordings transcribed, and this will free up a lot of your time later on when students who are absent, they ask for work that they missed, and it'll be invaluable for students with disabilities who may need to hear or view the material repeatedly to really understand it. One advantage of audio recorded lectures over video is that audio files are much smaller in size, and so they don't require much storage space. But if you have a video of, say, 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 60 minutes long, they're gigantic in size, and so you can't store as many. 5, some students need extra time for certain assignments or for the processing of information during in-class exams, especially during exams. Often it can be arranged that they simply are allowed to stay in class after the exam is over and keep working. That's usually what I do with students like that. And I would say that's the most common accommodation from disabled students programs and services, DSPS. It's very common. Another important category is online accessibility. I teach online. So when you're thinking about online, there are a few differences. So first, all documents have to be digital text, not scans. Because if you use a scan, you'll have to run an optical character recognition, OCR, program to obtain the text. Otherwise, it can't read that text to blind or sight impaired students. Number 2, ideally you should generate subtitles for all of your videos. There are a few programs that might help. Dragon Naturally Speaking converts speech directly into text, and Subtitle Horse can turn a script into subtitles. Third is create PowerPoints using only the supplied templates. So when you start to customize slides with text boxes and things like that, which I do too often, and I try to go back and straighten it out, then the text reading programs can't read your slides. So if you use the supplied templates, it knows those programs know where to look for the text and they can read them effectively. Number 4, provide written description of all online or PowerPoint images. So what you do is you right click on the image and you choose Alt Description or Alt Format, and then you write in a short description. And then when the program that reads these files reads it, it will just tell the student, this is an image of a mountaintop, or this is the image of a graphic showing da da da. And you type in, of course, whatever you want them to know, the crux of what that image is and its importance. 5 is just use easy to read fonts. For instance, not this one that I put there. Easy to read fonts. 6, if you have a hyperlink or a web link embedded in the text, convert it to a logical name rather than the entire URL, as in the example here. Also, if you just want to check if your document or PowerPoint is accessible, just when you're in that document, click on File, go to Info, and check for issues. And it's pretty helpful in identifying those for you. And the last tip is, if you can, make audio lectures to go with your PowerPoints. I do this often. It really helps in my online classes, and students constantly tell me, I'm so grateful that you have audio lectures to go with the PowerPoints, because apparently it's very rare. So it's very helpful to students in general, but invaluable to blind and sight impaired students, because it's just another source of information that comes to them via a different sensory channel. Okay, that's it for accessibility for disabled students. I hope you got some nuggets out of this video. As I said, this one's close to my heart, and I hope we can all honor disabled students and honor the accommodations that they often need. Thank you.